I just wanted to ask location description, what we're going with. Close, couple miles. Okay. 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 Waiting on the hub, then we'll be live. We're doing cut in, live, really quick. Come to me. I'm going to step out, show. It should be like maybe 30, 45 seconds is what I'm hearing. Okay. Step this way. Okay.
Start streaming.
Yeah, you want me to step back on or just stay out? Okay, okay.
Hello? I'm making it really clear so everyone understands. This is a road. You may not be in it. Okay? You may not be in it. So please move off the road. You can do your job, but do not do it in my road, okay? Okay? Can we work together with that? Please. I don't want someone getting injured. It's not worth it.
I'll be right back, okay?
Miles away from where Nancy Guthrie lives, and I know the Pima County Sheriff's Office here on scene. This is related to Nancy Guthrie. They have this road here blocked off. We have some public information officers here on scene. They tell us some kind of a statement from the Sheriff's Department is incoming, although they said that it was running through the FBI chain of command. We're waiting to hear what is happening. And we know this is related to the Nancy Guthrie case. This is a residential neighborhood not far.
The camera's gonna die. I'll just try to be prepared to get it on. Better not die, because that'll be a shock to me. So that's what's gonna come back over here. I might have you move down there.
Yeah, my triple dose over here. Perfect.
Thank you. Need water? Guys, I'm gonna run back to the car to get a battery, but we could probably take our shot if I can figure out how to zoom this out. So give me 5 seconds. Yeah, I can zoom this out a little bit. Oh my god, yay. I did this. Okay, you can really take our shot.
Did that just get darker?
Well, I have no photojournalist in the camera, so can you zoom battery? Okay, great.
Stand by. Yeah, well, we are just a few miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, and I want to show you what we are seeing here. We have the Pima County Sheriff's Department that has blocked off this street here. We did see a few public information officers walk on in the scene just a little bit ago. They told us that they are going to be releasing some kind of a statement. I did try to ask some questions about what is going on here. They would tell me that this is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, but they would not answer any of my other questions. They said that statement is running through the FBI chain of commands. This is a residential area here, again, just a few miles from where Nancy Guthrie lives, and we have this road here blocked off. We know the Pima County Sheriff's Department is here on scene. We are working to get more information, but again, we are waiting to hear what this is, what is going on, but again, related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. We'll send this back inside to you. Oh.
that is going to be released shortly. We don't know when that statement is going to come. I was actually told a statement would be sent out maybe an hour ago from a public information officer that was here on scene. And we got here, and this is really the scene that we've been looking at. Although I do want to let you know, within the last few minutes, we have seen a SWAT vehicle pull out and lots of other cars pull in, including a car marked forensics. Now I want to show you what we're seeing here. We are just a few minutes from where Nancy Guthrie lives. And remember, she lives in the Catalina Foothills community. I want to show you, we have this street here that is blocked off. We have the Pima County Sheriff's Department here. And this man here, I know you might see him. We don't know why he is here. We know that he has been talking to deputies. It looked like a woman was also here. Okay, guys, I want to let you know we have the public information officers walking up. We're going to see if we learn anything. We haven't known why law enforcement is here. We just know that they have been driving down this road, and it looks like around a bend. And again, we know that we are just a few minutes away from Nancy Guthrie's home. And we don't know what led law enforcement here, but we were told by the Pima County Sheriff's Department that this was in relation to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. We have the public information officer who is speaking to a deputy here on scene. We have someone who is walking out right now. We don't know who this is, but this all comes on day 13 of this search. And I know that so many people have had questions. We've seen questions circulating about gloves that were found. Is the Pima County Sheriff's Department working with the FBI? What's that relationship like? And I know that our Scripps News Tucson station was able to speak with the sheriff today. And, he was saying they are focused on doing the work necessary to find Nancy Guthrie. And now, just hours after that interview, we are here on scene watching this all play out. Again, this road has been blocked off, and it's really dark here, so we can't see down the road. And again, this is around the bend, so we can't see what law enforcement is doing. And I know so many people have had questions about what is taking place here, but again, we don't know. We're waiting for that statement from the Sheriff's Department, and we do have this public information officer, who is talking to this deputy here. She is the one who I spoke with earlier, and I want to let you know what she told me. I said, can you answer this question, this question, this question? And she said, no. She said a statement is coming, and it is going through the FBI chain of commands. And so we are still waiting for that statement, and we are standing by, and we saw a few people here walk out of this area that is again blocked off. So we are waiting to hear. But I do think it's important to also let you know we have seen some departments from nearby. So we saw the Marana Police Department, one of their cars, Oro Valley also here on scene. They were here for a minute and then left. And really the concern right now for this deputy who's standing here is making sure that people are not standing in the middle of the road, because we have so many people that are here on scene. So all of this coming again on day 13 of the search. And I want to remind you guys, we're waiting for this information from law enforcement. We saw a man detained earlier this week for questioning, and then he was released. We actually talked to him, and he told us that he was hoping that law enforcement tracked down the person who potentially abducted Nancy Guthrie, because he said it was not him. And now we are here waiting to see what is taking place here. But again, so many vehicles actually pulled in really within the last 15 minutes. And so we are waiting to see what is going on. And I do think that SWAT vehicle pulling out, forensics pulling in, no press conference tonight, but a statement coming. So we're waiting to see what has taken place here tonight. But it was really quiet, rainy here in Tucson, really until several hours ago, guys. And we're going to be here to bring you live what's going on. Yeah, well, we do know that they said that they had gotten DNA back, and they were hoping to move forward with that, and they were hoping to potentially, when I say move forward, if they have a suspect, potentially check that DNA with that suspect. Now, we do know that there have been these gloves that were involved and other potential evidence items, and so we really didn't know today where they were at with that process. So we don't know if it is, related here. If something happened with that, if something happened with the investigation, if a tip came in, we really don't know yet, but hopefully that statement will give us some clarity as to why law enforcement came just minutes away from where Nancy Guthrie lives here to this neighborhood. And we wish we could see kind of what is taking place, but they have us so far back here, and it looks like they are driving quite a bit of ways down the road here.
If they are not removed, they could be subject to being towed. If your vehicle is parked on the side of the road and it is in the roadway at all, you also need to move your vehicle, please. If you have any questions, I'm right here as far as vehicles are concerned.
One more time.
We're not providing that information at this time.
Sorry, I was in the middle of life. What did you say? I wasn't listening.
The vehicles in the roadway,
In the road that way? So,
in this median, need to be moved.
great, awesome.
Okay, if your vehicle is in the roadway at all, it also needs to be moved. Otherwise, it's subject to be towed.
And do
Okay,
you know when
guys,
that
did
statement
you
is
guys need us back here? I can hear you. Guys.
At some point.
Please don't touch me. You can speak English, right? Yeah.
Sorry, guys. No, we.
You're probably fine. As long as, yeah, these guys
Yes,
are
we
causing
also
the biggest
have.
problem.
Or is our shot up? Okay.
I can only assume I'm not the one letting the traffic through, so I can't touch it.
Yes. No, they were asking people that had their cars parked by us to move, and I didn't know if they meant our car's over here, so we're okay. But I was trying to figure that out. Yeah, sorry. I thought she was telling us to move too.
I didn't want to
I see someone from LA who's very cold. Who is that?
too, we are seeing quite a crowd gathering here. A lot of these are members of the news media like us who are trying to get the word out about what's happening. But there's also neighbors here. There's also people who have just been really fascinated with this case. We know there's been a lot of chatter online about, what possibly has happened. Of course, we always want our reporting to be responsible, so we've always worked very, very carefully to confirm any information we bring to you with Pima County deputies or also the FBI. You see the umbrellas as well, too. It is raining here right now in Pima County. And earlier today, I had reached out to the FBI because I wanted to know if the weather was going to impact a search or the investigation at all. And the FBI sent me back a statement, and they said that the investigation would not be hampered by weather conditions. And they told me this in a quote. They said that our priority is to find Nancy. So that was what they were focused on, despite the fact that there was a lot of rain in this area too. I had also asked them, sometimes when there's rain, it can wash away critical forensic evidence that maybe wasn't gathered. We have seen FBI agents at Nancy's home as recently as Wednesday. So this looks to be possibly a neighbor leaving here too. Hard to tell because we are seeing some unmarked vehicles, although a lot of them have the lights as well. That one appears to be a neighbor. But, what we were seeing earlier in Pima County here, talking about the rain here. It's been raining off and on throughout the day. And I had asked deputies, is that a concern for you? Because like I had just mentioned, we saw FBI agents not just on Nancy's property, but in and around her entire neighborhood, going for several blocks. Also, we know just yesterday, Pima County deputies put out the call for surveillance video from anyone who lives within a 2-mile radius of Nancy's home to try to see if maybe they missed any clues, any Ring doorbell video, security cameras. So many homes have that kind of technology right now. We've seen more cars leaving the scene right now. This does look to be a member of law enforcement, I believe. Again, hard to tell because some of these vehicles are unmarked. But Pima County deputies trying to solicit those tips from people because they know that they need more eyes and ears on the ground to try to see, hey, maybe your home picked up a Ring doorbell video of someone that you think is suspicious. And they had expanded the window too, which I thought was fascinating, starting January 1st all the way to February 2nd to try to see if they could pinpoint something. We're looking live still. As you can see, that intersection is blocked off right now. We're awaiting that update here in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Again, still trying to figure out what exactly has happened here. We know that there was that potential person of interest taken into custody earlier this week. That person was questioned and released. We're still waiting to see if they have detained anyone in this case. And most importantly, as we wrap up, we're still working to figure out what happened to Nancy. Is she okay? This community has been praying for her, and everyone for the past 13 days has just been hoping for some kind of a positive outcome, guys.
Yeah, certainly the thoughts of the nation with the Guthrie family tonight. Nick, thank you. And stay with ABC 15 as we continue tracking every new development in the Nancy Guthrie case. We'll bring you updates on air, on our app, and anytime on ABC15.com.
Well, you saw all that rain and Nick shot on Chief Meteorologist Amber Sellen, still tracking this winter storm that's moving through. The
The Nancy Guthrie case. We want to get right out to our Ashley Holden live in Pima County, where there's an active scene. And Ashley, we got an update about an hour ago or so from the Pima County Sheriff's Department, but nothing since.
Yeah, and we kind of thought, because we have this active scene going on behind us and we can't even really see as far as where it is taking place, we thought that we would get maybe potentially a press conference tonight. There was kind of some rumblings over here because there is so much media, but then we were told there would not be a press conference tonight, but a statement released, and they have been telling us that now for over an hour, and we are still waiting. I've been refreshing my phone, waiting to see when we will get that, because we have had so many cars pull in here, and we have been talking about, it's kind of hard to tell if all of them are law enforcement, but many of them do have lights, and so we have been watching that. Dozens of cars, I would say, pull in here through this roadblock. I want to show you, this is just minutes from Nancy Guthrie's home. Again, remember, she lives in the Catalina Foothills community, and we have been talking about how much the community here wants answers. They, of course, know that Nancy Guthrie is a community member, but also a mom and a grandmother, and they have been praying for her safe return. So we don't know what is going on here. We just know that there has been this heavy law enforcement presence here on scene. At least we have been here for over an hour, and it began before that as well. We did see a SWAT vehicle pull out. We saw several other departments that have been here on scene. The Marana Police, we have seen Oro Valley Police here as well at one point, and it did look like they left the scene. But then we've had all these unmarked cars that we've been talking about. A forensics unit also pulled in here on scene, and they are driving down this road and around the bend. Obviously, we have a lot of lights because we have the media here, but if they're driving down around this bend, it's so dark, and they're driving around that curve that we can't see where that law enforcement is going. But obviously, a lot of cars are here in this neighborhood tonight, and again, minutes away from Nancy Guthrie's home, where we have been, and it has been very quiet but rainy on day 13 of this search. And really, the updates that we were getting were from Sheriff Chris Nanos himself. We did not have an updated media release that came out today, and now here we are a few hours later, after our Scripps News Tucson station actually got an interview with the sheriff, and we are now waiting for a media release and have been for quite some time. So we're waiting to see what is taking place here. But again, we do know this is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation.
I want to ask you, Ashley, because you say about 2 minutes, many people are saying, or a couple minutes, many people are saying about 2 miles. Where are you compared with Tucson, like in the middle of Tucson and U of A? Because you appear to be elevated, maybe possibly in some foothills.
Yes, and I think we are still technically in the Catalina Foothills community, and we are north of Tucson proper. Again, when I say minutes, we are probably, I think we're around 2 miles, maybe less than, away from Nancy Guthrie's home. And we have been really all over this neighborhood. And I was talking to people about what stood out to me. And it is that it is very dark, but also windy roads. And Nancy Guthrie's home is really, you have to go down a lot of windy roads, take a lot of turns to get there. It's by no means off of a main road when you turn into the neighborhood. So that stood out to me. It's also very dark where her home is. It's a little bit lighter here, but I'm pretty sure that's just because we have law enforcement here on scene, and we also have so many news crews. We're seeing this deputy walk here up the road. I'm not sure what he is doing, but our Nick Saletti also is here in this area. I want to send things over to you, Nick. You've been talking to neighbors here, and I'm sure this is not what they expected on their Friday night, especially after we had this quiet and rainy day, really waiting to see what would happen with this investigation.
Yeah, and actually the rain is still coming down a little bit, but it hasn't deterred people from coming out. Obviously, a number of the people with us right now are reporters trying to get the word out about this update in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. But we have also seen a lot of neighbors, a lot of people who live in and around this community, of course, interested in what has happened and what this potential update in this case could be. As we mentioned, this is day 13 as investigators look into the disappearance parents of Nancy, and this community has just been heartbroken in so many ways. This neighborhood, just to set it up for people though, in Catalina Foothills, if you're not familiar with this area, in the valley, think of parts of Ahwatukee, think of parts of North Scottsdale, the way the homes sit, the way that it's darker, as Ashley has mentioned as well. That is what this area reminds me of. And right now, as you can see, our photojournalist Chad Cromwell, as I step out of the way, zooms into this intersection closed. So just imagine coming home and you see an intersection in your small neighborhood shut down by law enforcement. Of course, it's going to be shocking right now. You can see the lights going on. We've also mentioned we have just seen law enforcement vehicle after vehicle after vehicle. I have counted at least 30. Some of them have been marked, some have not. You mentioned it, Ashley. We've seen them from all over Pima County, Oro Valley, Marana, Pima County deputies, of course, because we know they were taking the lead in this investigation. You know, I had reached out to the FBI earlier too, because with the rain, wasn't sure if that was going to hamper the investigation at all or hamper the search, but the FBI told me the weather conditions didn't matter. They were going to continue this investigation, and they told me, quote, finding Nancy is our priority. And that's what they've been trying to do for nearly 2 weeks now, as we have worked to try to get answers and what exactly happened to Nancy Guthrie. Of course, we're going to stay out here and continue to press for answers as we work to get that update. Faye, Javier?
Nick, I know you've been working the scene for more than a week now, but tell us about your night, because we were tipped off earlier in the evening that something was going to go down, and this is where you ended up.
Yeah, and of course, in these kinds of things, Faye, Javier, you know from your extensive experience, things start to trickle out, right, little by little, and that's what was happening here. We were hearing reports of a SWAT vehicle leaving sheriff's headquarters, which was about 20 minutes or so from where we are in the Catalina Foothills. And then we were hearing about possible addresses for places where something may go down, whether it's possibly taking someone into custody or questioning someone. We don't know all of that, but just hearing different things like that, and just little by little, everything started to stack up until we were getting more concrete information that this was happening. And then our team was able to confirm before we went on air that this did in fact have something to do with the Nancy Guthrie investigation.
Yeah. Nick, before this scene became active and all of the attention turned to where you are right now, a lot of the conversation today was about DNA and DNA that had come back from a lab that was not the family's, that was not Nancy Guthrie's, and also the gloves that had been found. Walk us through sort of the newest elements from today.
Yeah, Faye, that's a great question. So what we had heard from ABC News after they sat down with the sheriff was that DNA evidence was found not just on gloves, but on other items. They wouldn't specify what other items these were, but saying that there was DNA evidence collected and that was tested. And of course, they found some family members' DNA in Nancy's home. That's to be expected to a degree, because think about it. If you go to your mom's home, you're leaving DNA. If you go to your sister's house, you're leaving DNA there. But what was interesting about what was revealed today was that there was DNA from someone else outside of the family that was found inside of the home. Again, deputies, the FBI, they didn't elaborate beyond that, but it was fascinating, and it got a lot of us wondering what exactly was happening and who that could maybe belong to in the meantime. But yeah, I mean, we of course were captivated by that, just trying to figure out who exactly it could belong to, just deepening the mystery here.
And in covering these situations, you know, sometimes that's the break, right? That's the break they need.
Smallest little thing sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Nick,
Sure.
We'll check back in a little later.
All right, we want to get back out to our Ashley Holden now. And actually, let me go back for a moment, though, to day 13 of this search. And again, an update on those gloves that were found.
Yeah, we were talking about that interview with Sheriff Nanos. So Friday's updates come as the Pima County Sheriff sat down for multiple interviews, including with our Scripps News Tucson station. He says, talking about those gloves, he did not find a glove inside Nancy Guthrie's home, but they have found a lot of gloves throughout their search, including one after a tip.
Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos says their focus, of course, is on finding Nancy Guthrie and doing the work necessary. But the biggest piece of evidence he still believes is that chilling doorbell footage from Nancy Guthrie's home released earlier this week. He says they've submitted all of their evidence and they have gotten back results with DNA.
If we get a suspect, we hope to get a swab and validate it with the DNA.
Are you making progress? Do you
You
feel
know,
like you're making progress?
the biggest key right now for me, the biggest piece of evidence right now was that video. Then I looked at that, you looked at, people say, oh, they held it for days. We held that video for less than 2 hours. It was just like, and the only reason is you got to send it to Washington, get approvals, all those things here. But we knew that's key. It's got to get out there.
Yeah, and Sheriff Nanos says they have widened their search. He says they've gone out about 10 miles now. And one other thing to note, they have released that the suspect that you see in that doorbell camera is about 5'9" to 5'10". And one of the things they've really been focusing in on is the distinct backpack that he was wearing.
Yeah, they said he's about medium build or so. And we're looking at day 13. So there's so much to cover in this case. And we want to walk you through the timeline of how we got here.
Yeah, Nancy Guthrie was last seen January 31st around 9:45 Saturday night when she was dropped off at her home by family. Sunday morning, February 1st, the family went to check on her and called 911. The search then getting underway. On Monday, February 2nd, the Pima County Sheriff pleading with the public for help, calling the home a crime scene for the first time. Later, investigators say they believe Nancy Guthrie was abducted. Tuesday, February 3rd, the sheriff speaking again, confirming the department is reviewing possible ransom notes, but still no suspects or persons of interest identified.
Wednesday, February 4th, the FBI returned to the home. Guthrie's children released a video message, and that night, President Trump directed a bigger federal response. Then Thursday, February 5th, the FBI announced they were joining the Pima County Sheriffs in a joint investigation. Then a $50,000 reward was announced in the case. Monday, February 9th, the latest ransom deadline passed, and the Guthrie family released yet another video.
Then on Tuesday, February 10th, big developments. The FBI releasing video and images. So much focus on this, showing what they consider a suspect in this case. And then just hours later, a man detained for questioning in Rio Rico. He was later released and is not facing charges. Thursday, February 12th, the white tent put up in front of Nancy Guthrie's home and then removed a short time later. The reward in the case also increased to $100,000.
As the search for Nancy Guthrie continues, investigators say video from doorbell cameras could be the key.
Yeah, the founder of the Ring system says even though the Guthrie home had a different system installed, neighbors with Ring cameras may have captured something important like cars or perhaps people in the area around the time of her disappearance.
These areas are too large. They need to be able to do it efficiently. They need to be working on other things. And so, yeah, we've been building now for over 10 years on how we can help our neighbors do what they want to do, which is our neighbors want to help when these things happen.
Now, police are still asking neighbors to check their cameras and upload any relevant footage through either the Ring app or the Neighbors app, where alerts have been sent out to the community. The FBI again now offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's whereabouts. Call the FBI at 800-CALL-FBI, or you can submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov.
So we want to get back out to our Ashley Holden live at the scene with a closer look at what's going on there. A lot of movement behind you.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see, I was turning around to see if this truck is just someone who lives in the neighborhood or who is someone who is trying to turn around or go into the scene. It looks like they are turning around. You were mentioning that chilling doorbell video that was released earlier this week, and really a lot of people saying, you know, that was a big break in the case. And we heard Sheriff Nanos say he believes that that is really the biggest piece of evidence. Of course, that was a few hours ago. I have been here for a majority of the week speaking with neighbors, a lot of them mentioning to me how afraid they were after watching that video. One man telling me he knew it bothered a lot of people in the neighborhood, especially the singles, as he called them, because it's scary to think that something like that could happen so close to your home. Of course, a man who's masked, we were told armed, and just that doorbell video, again, pretty chilling. But those neighbors that we talked to, they live down the road from Nancy Guthrie in the Catalina Foothills community, and they said they did have FBI at their door earlier this week asking for video footage. And some of them did have Ring doorbell cameras or other providers as well, but had cameras. And a lot of them mentioned to me that they were concerned because the homes in this community are kind of set back amongst the desert foliage, and so sometimes they might have those cameras pointed towards a door or pointed towards their driveway, but not necessarily would be able to see the road. So that was a concern with some of the neighbors I spoke with. I also spoke with a woman who has lived in this community for 16 years. She was emotional. She almost started crying when we were talking, and she said, you know, this is just, it's sad, and she wants answers, and it has made her think about so many other people as well throughout this. A lot of people mentioning that they are really thinking of the Guthrie family, and we have seen that outpouring of support here. We are, again, just waiting to hear an update from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. We have seen the public information officers here on scene, a few of them, and like I mentioned, they have been going into the scene and then coming back out at times, but we cannot see right now what law enforcement is doing. They have been driving down the road and around the bend, all of those dozens of cars coming into the scene, but we don't know what is playing out right now. Again, waiting for that statement. And now I believe we're going on about 2 hours since that public information officer came over, said, hey, this is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, but we don't have information we can provide to you right now. A statement is coming. And so we're waiting to hear really everything. What led law enforcement here? What are they doing here? Again, a residential neighborhood not far from where Nancy Guthrie lives. And so a lot of questions remain tonight, and so many questions were remaining today as well, you guys.
One of the bizarre things in this whole thing has been the several ransom notes that television stations, including our sister station down in Tucson, has received. What can you tell us about the ransom notes?
Yeah, well, in terms of are they legit or not, we've really never gotten a solid answer on that. We know at one point, really, it was Sheriff Nanos who said the FBI is going to be taking questions about these apparent ransom notes. We saw that at the press conference, and we have been reaching out to them throughout the week, but we really haven't heard anything or if those apparent notes are legitimate or not. But I have been saying that it seems like this investigation definitely shifted its focus. Of course, we saw those videos that the Guthrie siblings put out as they were kind of looking at those notes. And then on Monday, we saw Savannah Guthrie just before that deadline that we had been talking about, that second apparent deadline at 5 p.m. She posted a video with a very different tone, really with a call out to the public, asking for help. And so I think that's when we saw things shift. And after that deadline, things really started beginning to focus on camera footage, evidence, what can we gather? And then we got, of course, that doorbell video. Right after that, we had someone detained, questioned, and released. And so now we're waiting to see what is happening here. But a lot has unfolded this week. Still no answers, and day 13.
Yeah, and Ashley, as we take a look at some of the video of the investigators just combing that area, and let's remember these properties are very large properties as well, so there's a lot of brush, a lot of cactus out there. They're going through a lot of terrain. But one of the questions I've seen being asked online right now, and I don't know if you could answer this, but someone was asking about where the various gloves have been found and if that is anywhere close to where you are now.
That is a good question. I would have to look at a map in relation to where I believe one was found, but I will be able to tell you what Sheriff Nanos told our Scripps News Tucson station today. He did say they had actually found lots of gloves, and they had widened their search area, and that was, they had gone out 5 miles, and then I believe he said as much as 10 miles. Okay, we have a car coming here. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can see what we are seeing here. This looks like another SWAT vehicle that is coming up the way. Let's see what is on the side of it. We have seen Pima County Sheriff's Department vehicles so far, and that's what this looks like here. And this looks like another SWAT vehicle. So this would be the second we have seen pull out of this area right now. This says SWAT Tactical Rescue. Now that is what the other one said as well. Pulling out of this scene. That is probably the first car in a while that we have seen pull out from this area here. So Javier, you were mentioning kind of the different vehicles that we have seen. We have, of course, those SWAT vehicles leaving, and then we have a lot of unmarked cars going in, along with a forensics unit that pulled into the scene as well. So waiting to see what all of this means and what is going on down the road.
And a lot of that is pretty typical when you talk about serving a search warrant. You have the SWAT team and the tactical units and stuff and the armored vehicles that go in initially. They do the work, they do the job, serve that search warrant, execute that search warrant, and then once they get an all clear, that's when they start to pull out slowly and make sure everything's safe, so that the investigators can come in and do their jobs. And by the looks of the amount of vehicles that have pulled in since, it's going to be a long night where they're going to go through that house extensively.
Yeah, and Ashley, just to be very, very clear, you haven't seen an ambulance go in, you haven't seen paramedics or firefighters go into the area?
Well, we're not cleared yet.
No, we haven't seen any kind of vehicle that is medical related drive in here to this scene. I do want to note, though, this started before we got here, so we don't know every person or vehicle that is here, and it's so far down the road we can't see it, but we have not seen anything like that. And of course, everyone here, every day I get questions about this search, and everyone wants answers, and so many people have come to Nancy Guthrie's home telling me they're praying for her safe return. They want her safe return, and that has really been the focus of not only the community but the Sheriff's Department as well. Okay, we have another car. Let me pull get out of this way, I should say. I think this is the second white van we have seen like this come out. And if it is similar to the one we saw earlier today, it had no kind of wording, labels, anything on it. Okay, this is leaving the scene. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, just a van. Looks to be law enforcement, and now we have another car who is pulling out right now. We have some people that are. Do you guys live here?
Yeah.
You do? Do you live in there or
Close to Nancy Guthrie.
close to Nancy Guthrie?
We're the 9 o'clock CNN interview.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're live. Do you want to tell us how you guys are feeling? Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, we can. You want to? Yeah.
I have my mic right here, guys, so we're gonna. I'm with ABC15 in Phoenix, and we're live streaming, just so you guys know.
So it'll just be shown in Phoenix?
It can be watched all over. Just
okay.
just so you're aware. So you guys live close by. Why did you come here tonight?
I just finished 9 o'clock an interview with another news station. We heard about what's going on here with the SWAT team and some situations happening right now. Someone at a traffic light, someone possibly was shot, self-inflicted wounds. So for those reasons, we came over here to see what's going on. It's in our neighborhood.
A lot of questions swirling, and we don't have any kind of confirmed information yet. Right. But how are you guys feeling with all of this taking place, in your community?
Yeah, go ahead, you start, Somer.
It's a little concerning, obviously. I'm not used to this type of crime. We have crime, obviously, like normal crime in every city, but something like this is really kind of shocking.
Yeah. For this scene to be just a few miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home, did that surprise you guys?
Yeah, it's so unsettling. The disappearance. This is just a really, Tucson is 500,000 people. It's a really small, close-knit community. We're right in the backyard of University of Arizona. We don't have these kinds of experiences or disappearances in Tucson. It just, it's a quiet town. and the community is very, together, close-knit. And we just don't have these kinds of things happen here. So it's very unsettling. Everyone is really worried. Everyone's looking at cameras, enforcing cameras, street cameras in their houses, outside, inside. So it's just really, everyone is nerve-wracking. I have a next-door neighbor that's gone to church for 30 years with Nancy Guthrie, the same church for 30 years, and he's devastated. And we have a lot of elderly people that live in the foothills area. A lot of people, we have trucks, Amazon, UPS is coming here every day on our streets. So it's hard to detect if these are, suspicious trucks or if it's real. It's just very tough. And, with all the presence of helicopters and drones and FBI on the ground, it's just really unsettling for these elderly people that are, don't know what to do.
Yeah, and one more question before I let you guys go and maybe warm up or at least get back from this area. What would it mean to have answers in this case? Do you think that people could, just feel maybe a little less on alert potentially, because it sounds like all day, every day, everyone's kind of looking behind their backs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really need some answers. We need a solution. This is day 13, and there's been no proof of life. We're going on day 13, and we don't know what's going on. So we really need, the community needs some answers and fast. It's going on, and, ransoms we're hearing about, fake ransoms, trucks,
so
all
many
these
questions.
things, the gloves, we don't know, the DNA today. So we really need some answers. And I think the law enforcement and the FBI are doing an amazing job. They are really asking questions, trying to get camera, footage. They're really doing a great job. And the police force here in Tucson are doing a great job. But it's gone on, and we are very unsettled. We're very devastated. And I mean, this should be, it's a very peaceful town. It's very quiet, peaceful.
This is not what you're used to at all.
Especially for it being an elderly woman. That's like less common. Especially talking about kidnappings. You don't really hear stories of it being like an elderly woman or a man being kidnapped. So that's a little more concerning part, because it's like, what was the real true,
what's the motive behind this?
Like she said, should other elderly neighbors in the area be concerned as well?
Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I'm Ashley again. Sorry, my hands are cold. Thank you so much. I'll let you guys get back, and I'm going to put this back on. Thank you guys for standing and talking to us, providing us with some perspective. And of course, we have so many questions, people hearing so many things on social media. I just want to remind you, we're waiting for a statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and we don't have any information right now that is confirmed. So we don't know what has taken place here, what is taking place down the road, but a community's perspective here on how they're feeling very unsettled, you guys.
Ashley, if you can still get them, if they're still close by, I'm wondering, they mentioned a traffic stop and a potential shooting. Did they see that themselves? And what can they tell us about that?
I will try to get that. They are talking with another news station right now. As soon as they get done with that, I will ask them. I know that there has been obviously a lot of social media posting about this as well. So many people tracking this case, and so I'll ask them if they saw those things or if they heard those things or how they're kind of getting any of that information. And of course, those are questions we're asking too. What happened? What led up to this? Was there anything else that took place? And what's going on again down the road? So I will ask them as soon as they finish up that next interview.
All right, I'll tell you what, Ashley, we're going to let you go. See if you can get those folks back one more time. In the meantime, we want to tell you about some billboards that are now going up in other states as the search for Nancy Guthrie continues, including this one in Palm Springs Thursday.
Yeah, the FBI has doubled its reward to $100,000 for information leading to an arrest. More than 13,000 tips have poured in since she was first reported missing February 1st. They're asking you to call 1-800, call FBI, or leave a tip online with any information.
Scripps News Tucson sitting down with the Pima County Sheriff just today to talk about the Nancy Guthrie case.
Yeah, this was hours before tonight's investigation got underway, so here's part of that interview.
The FBI joined
I think it will. I think we should try it, and I have some, just because otherwise.
That day, 9 o'clock that morning, I was in this office, and my detectives said, tell me what we got. We have all this biological evidence, and we have all this physical evidence. Okay, where we were, the physical hard cameras, the cell phones, computers, the FBI does a great job. How do they know that? Because they work with them. We've submitted all our evidence, and we have gotten back results with DNA. That's all I can speak to.
Yeah, and you're then going to run,
Absolutely.
off of that.
Absolutely.
Off of
that. If we get a suspect, we hope to get a swab and validate it with the DNA.
Are you making progress? Do you feel like you're making progress?
The biggest key right now for me, the biggest piece of evidence right now was that video. That I looked at that, you looked at. People say, oh, they held it for days. We held that video for less than 2 hours. It was just like, and the only reason is you got to send it to Washington, get approvals, all those things here. But we knew that's key. It's got to get out there. And it did, and we generated in an hour's time almost 5,000 tips. You've got over 30-some thousand tips there from between the FBI and us, and it's growing. And that was 2 days ago. It might be 40, 50. We want those. This is about staying focused on finding Nancy. 400 cops are out there right now doing work, hard work. And it's not just today, it is 24/7. It's one. Two, it's just crazy. If I may, I'll give you the background on that statement. So it was about some DNA on a glove that Quantico wanted or the FBI wanted, and we said, no, it's coming here. That is so far from the truth of what happened. This case started on Sunday afternoon for us. By Sunday night, into the early hours Monday, my team had collected all the biological and all the physical evidence at that scene to suggest that, oh, they left stuff there, they did a bad job. That's just ludicrous. And that's an insult to my team. We process crime scenes for decades. We understand the rules of evidence and how to protect a crime scene. We left the crime scene because we had everything we saw as evidentiary value. We had county attorneys come out and do those things. The FBI joined us when? Not days later that's been reported. That day. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that morning, I was in this office, and my detectives said, tell me what we got. We have all this biological evidence, and we have all this physical evidence. Okay, where we were, the physical hard cameras, the cell phones, computers, the FBI does a great job. How do they know that? Because they work with them. They have the resource. Give it to them. We called the FBI, absolutely sure. They took it. We took the biological evidence because we have a lab. We've worked with this lab for decades. And it's a lab that, oh, they're in Florida. I don't know where they were 30, 40 years ago when we hired them, when we contracted with them, because like every lab, they put in a bid for a contract. It's renewed after 2 or 3, 4, whatever the time frame is, and they get that bid. They've been a great lab. The FBI, if the FBI said, Sheriff, we don't like your lab because of this, we would have had a different conversation. Sure. But it wasn't about that. The FBI is a great lab too. We've used them before. It was simply, we had already sent that evidence in for the markers for the family. We knew, if you have a burglary in your home, God forbid, but we're going to get markers from you and your family. So we have eliminations. And so now we go to a crime scene, or what we believe is a potential scene, on a search warrant up on in Rio Rico. Same thing. We gather all that evidence, it goes to our lab. Now we fast forward to yesterday, day before, a glove is found. There's another thing. There's been no glove ever found at that house or in that property. That glove was found 2 miles away. Somebody called it in as a tip. We would be crazy not to say, oh yeah, go ahead, we don't need it. No, we're gonna go out and get it. In fact, since then, we've been widening our search patterns, which is pretty typical in these cases. And in that search, we've gone out almost, 5-10 miles, and we found lots of gloves. But we prioritize that. I don't want people to sit there and say, oh, there's a glove, they got too many. No, call us.
Right.
Let us do.
Yeah.
So that glove was found. The FBI said, well, we can send it to Quantico. I said, well, we could, but here's the thing. All of our DNA evidence is already at our lab. They'd come back with reports. Those reports have been shared with you. In fact, your reports from your lab on the video, it was shared with us. All of that went out. Why would you add a second lab to this? Because now that lab, if they get a marker, say they get a profile, what are they going to do? Call our lab to send stuff over? You've added a step there that's not needed.
Right.
As long as I took to explain this to you,
Yeah.
the FBI and I had this conversation in about 10 seconds. They went, got it, perfect, Sheriff.
Okay, we also want to talk about some brand new video we're just getting in right now. This is video of investigators on scene outside of Culver's restaurant. This is in the area. Reports are it's about a few miles away. There are FBI agents in the parking lot. Earlier today, we saw them looking around a white van.
Yeah, we don't know whether this is connected to the Guthrie case, but we do have a crew headed that way to try to check it out. And when you talk about this case, again, this is a huge one. There's so much to cover in this case. So we want to walk you through the timeline of how we got here.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot to talk about. Nancy Guthrie was last seen January 31st. It was around 9:45 Saturday night when she was dropped off at home by family. Sunday morning, February 1st, the family went to check on her and called 911, a search then getting underway. Then Monday, February 2nd, Pima County Sheriff pleading with the public for help for the first time, calling the home a crime scene. Later, investigators say they believed Nancy Guthrie was abducted. Tuesday, February 3rd, the sheriff speaking again, confirming the department is reviewing possible ransom notes, but still no suspects or persons of interest identified.
Wednesday, February 4th, the FBI returned to that home. Guthrie's children that day released a video message, and then that night, President Trump directed a bigger federal response. Then Thursday, February 5th, the FBI announced they were joining the Pima County Sheriff's Department in a joint investigation. A $50,000 reward was announced in this case. Monday, February 9th, the latest ransom deadline then passed. That's when Savannah Guthrie released another video.
And then on Tuesday, February 10th, big developments. The FBI releasing video and images showing who they consider a suspect in the case. A man about 5'9", 5'10", with a very distinctive backpack. We saw him on that doorbell camera video there. Just hours later, another man detained for questioning in Rio Rico, north of Mexico. He was later released and is not facing any charges. Then let's move to Thursday, February 12th. The white tent put up in front of Nancy Guthrie's home and then removed a short time later. The reward in the case, meanwhile, increased to $100,000.
Now, as the search for Nancy Guthrie continues, investigators say that video from doorbell cameras, not just Nancy Guthrie's, but her entire community surrounding, could be the key here.
Yeah, we heard the neighbors just talking about that a moment ago. The founder of the Ring system says even though the Guthrie home had a different system installed, neighbors with Ring cameras may have captured something important. Could be cars, could be other people in the area, but it would be around the same time of her disappearance.
These areas are too large. They need to be able to do it efficiently. They need to be working on other things. And so, yeah, we've been building now for over 10 years on how we can help our neighbors do what they want to do, which is our neighbors want to help when these things happen.
And that's been one of the issues that law enforcement has been facing down there. It's very dark in the area and the properties are quite large. Police are still asking neighbors to check their cameras and upload any relevant footage through the Ring app or the Neighbors app, where alerts have been sent out to the community. And as a reminder, the FBI is now offering that $100,000 reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's whereabouts. Call the FBI at 800-CALL-FBI, or you can also submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov.
We want to head out to our Nick Saletti. He's been live out there for a while, about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, still in the Catalina foothills. What are you seeing where you're at?
So I just want to narrate what's happening right now. So we are at Culver's fast food restaurant. not far from the location where ABC15's Ashley Holden is right now, and we see several FBI agents there. They're doing something in the back of that silver SUV right now. We can't quite make out what exactly they're doing right now, but I've been told that they have been here for quite some time in this area. Again, you see them gathered there around that silver-looking SUV. I also see Pima County deputies are here, and Marana police are also here. So this is some sort of law enforcement situation. Right now, we're reaching out to our sources to try to figure out exactly what was happening. Our Scripps News Group Tucson station also here and had gathered some video earlier showing even a more active scene at one point with what looked like more agents here. But you see the jacket there, the navy jacket with the yellow lettering there of the FBI. These are agents there. They're doing something in the back of that SUV. You could see because the hatch is open right now. The restaurant is closed right now. I do want to point that out. The Culver's is closed right now. We see Marana police. I see at least one or at least two Pima County deputies as well. So I think it's safe to say this is definitely some sort of law enforcement situation. Right now, we're still working to figure out what happened here tonight and what they're investigating exactly, because obviously, you come to a Culver's, you don't expect to see the FBI, right? That's definitely something that would be surprising. So for us, we're still working to figure out what exactly that could be, but we'll just leave you with these live images there. You can see that looks like, I don't know if he's taking something out of the back of that SUV right now. It's hard to, camera, it looks like. My photojournalist Chad Cromwell telling me it's a camera. I think he's taking some pictures as well from this scene. So they're obviously collecting some kind of photographic evidence. So this is definitely a scene for them, an investigation, if you will, that is of some value, or at least they think it is. Obviously, we don't want to speculate too much on what this could be, but the fact is they're here. It looks like he has a flashlight out right now, and he's getting something from the back of his vehicle as well. As I mentioned, to our Scripps News Group station here in Tucson, was here earlier and got some video that showed, like I said, an even more active scene right now. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go so I can try to see if I can gather some more information, because I see some people here on the sidewalk. I want to talk to them and just see if they maybe saw anything. So let me go ahead. Actually, you know what? Would it be okay if I go over and talk?
Nick, real quick, any sign of a driver?
Hi, sorry. I don't see a driver, actually, no. You know what, let me walk over and see. No, it's hard to tell, and you know what? I want to, real quick, let's see.
Yeah.
No, I don't see anyone inside. I took out my phone so that way I could zoom in, because it is dark, but we see the FBI agent taking even more photographs right now of inside. So, you know what, he's taking some outside, and now it looks like he's taking some photos inside of this vehicle right now. So it looks like the vehicle is possibly part of this. We don't know. There's still obviously a lot we're working to confirm, guys.
Hard to tell, but you can imagine the amount of FBI agents who are in Tucson for that specific reason. So again, we don't want to speculate. We want to make sure we get the proper information. And speaking of, we continue to wait for an actual statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Office with regarding to that other scene where we believe it was connected. We know that much, that it was connected, but we don't know what was involved.
Yeah, let's get back out to our Ashley Holden. And Ashley, I know you've seen a lot of cars coming and going, but again, we want to emphasize no ambulances, no paramedics where you are.
No, we haven't seen any kind of medical vehicles arriving or coming from the scene. And I have been saying, this started before we got here, so we don't know every single vehicle that is inside this scene and down the road. But we're watching really each and every vehicle here that kind of leaves and comes to this area, because some of them have been law enforcement and some people here just turning around. Like, I think this person might just be turning around. Now, we do have those neighbors, those community members that we were talking to, telling us that they are fearful, kind of looking over their shoulder every day, that they know that their community members are also feeling the same, and we're going to try and ask them a few questions here in just a second to see, they were talking about, we have a lot of movement here, sorry guys, they have been talking about some other things they were hearing about, and we don't know if they saw those things or if they were hearing about them somewhere, and we just don't have confirmed information. We have had a lot of cars here turning around and coming in, people moving here in just the last few minutes, so I'm trying to look over my shoulder and just see who is here and who is potentially leaving. And there's so many people here, you guys. So you're seeing a flashlight, you're seeing a deputy waving his flashlight. He's trying to make sure that everyone is out of the road here as these cars try to leave. And he's also taking a look, so this is kind of what they're doing each time, looking at the car, going up, talking to them before they potentially drive into the scene. And I do want to step aside, I'll show you kind of this here. But again, so this person's just turning around, and now the deputy is coming over here to again tell people, hey, we need to make sure you're out of the road. We have cars that are coming and going. They even before told a few people to move their cars because they didn't want to block this area and this entrance. Let's show this roadblock again here. We have cones up here. Again, we have that deputy that you just saw walking, and he has been here. The public information officers have been kind of coming and going from the scene, although we have not seen them in quite some time now, and we are still waiting on that statement. So we don't know how long that's going to take. We were just told soon that it would be coming soon, and we have this Pima County Sheriff's Department car letting people in and out. And as Nick said, he saw a couple of different departments at the scene where he was at. We have seen people, so different departments I should say, here at some points. Oro Valley Police, Marana Police were also here, and then last time I was with you, we saw some SWAT vehicles leave, we saw some vans leave, and we have seen forensics vehicle, at least one, go inside the scene and drive down the road. So many questions though about what's going on here tonight. We have Nick at another scene where FBI is at, and we have seen, obviously, we heard from the neighbors about what it's like to have the FBI in your community and having so many questions. And then we also have this huge law enforcement presence here, so many unmarked cars that we've seen drive in along with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And so we obviously have so many questions. Is the scene that Nick is at related to this scene? And we do know this scene is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So hoping to get some of these answers soon, because now it's been over 2 hours since we were told a statement is coming and no press conference. So obviously though, what we have taking place in there, law enforcement doing some kind of work in here, because they have been in here now for hours since we have been on scene. So many questions here remain, you guys.
And they'll likely be there the rest of the night, and that's true. To do a proper investigation, they will be going through that house for an extensive amount of time. When you look at how much time, as far as what's happened since Tuesday, since they released the video of the alleged suspect outside of Nancy Guthrie's house, I mean, that night we saw the same kind of cadence with all the media following down to Rio Rico. It's about 20 minutes away from outside of Mexico, and that's where we know that they detained one individual. They believe that individual is connected to the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. They interrogated and questioned that individual for several hours in the back of a vehicle, and then they released that individual. And so, it could be another night like that, could not be another night like that, but we don't have that information from the Pima County Sheriff's at this point.
And we're really still waiting to find out as well is what prompted that initial stop of that person, that man down in the Rio Rico area. We still don't have that information either. We wanted to get back out to the scene now to our Nick Saletti with an update. Nick, what can you tell us?
Yeah, guys, okay, so I am getting some brand new information for you right now. I can confirm that one person is being detained here at this scene, at the Culvers here, not far from where Ashley Holden is. And we know that Ashley Holden's scene is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Right now, we're still working to figure out what exactly is happening here with this investigation. But the update I can bring you right now is that there is a man on scene who is being detained. There are several different departments on scene as well. We have the FBI, of course. We also have Pima County deputies and Marana police. In fact, the man right now is being detained in a Marana police vehicle. It is the closest one next to the Culver's building here. It's that silver vehicle. There is a man back there in the back seat right now. Also, you can see the FBI is taking photos of this silver Range Rover right now. It looks like he's taking pictures of the back of it. We also are seeing him get a little bit closer right now. Not sure exactly why they're doing this or what they're investigating here right now, but he's been taking a number of pictures. I counted at least 12 in just the past minute or so. So there's obviously something in the back of the Range Rover that they're trying to look at and document and photograph right now. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer too so that I can see, but it is interesting to see so many different departments here. And obviously we don't want to speculate too much, but we know that there's already FBI here, as Ashley mentioned, because of the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So it's just interesting to see, especially so close. Again, we're still working to confirm what's happening. So I'm actually walking a little bit closer to what they're doing. It's so dark, so it's hard to tell exactly what they're trying to investigate. And as a matter of fact, as I say it's so dark, you can see the Pima County deputies are also shining lights on the back of that Range Rover right now as the FBI agent is taking photos of what is happening here. You can see they each have a lamp shining above it to illuminate the photos better for this agent. But I mean, he's taken at least 20, maybe 30 photographs right now. And earlier, when we talked to you just a few minutes ago, we could see him in the back of his car. He was preparing his camera and whatnot so that he could document this. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happened here with this Range Rover. So you can see now the FBI agent is going to the driver's side of that Range Rover to now take pictures of that. He's taking pictures of the inside as well, it looks like, but now he's moved to the driver's side, so presumably he's going to be moving to all sides of this Range Rover right now. So this is a Culver's restaurant right now. So obviously this is a fast food restaurant. I'm maybe a mile and a half away from Ashley's scene right now. She's in that neighborhood in the Catalina foothills where they have confirmed there's an investigation happening that has to do with Nancy Guthrie right now. So we're going to stay out here right now, me and my photojournalist Chad Cromwell, and we're going to continue to get video here and try to see what else we can confirm. But real quick, we know one man has been detained here at this Culver's, guys.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. And just a quick note on that. We say detained, not obviously that is very different from arrested. Detained is essentially you're not free to go, but you're being questioned type of a thing, as opposed to when you're arrested, that, you know, is when the handcuffs go on essentially and you know, things escalate from there. So very important distinction there.
You're exactly right. So Scripps News Tucson, they were able to sit down with the Pima County Sheriff today to talk about the Nancy Guthrie case.
Yeah, it was hours before tonight's investigation really got underway. Here's part of that interview.
For someone to say that we're not working with the FBI or that the sheriff is stopping evidence from going up, that's just crazy. That's ludicrous. Why would I not use the FBI and their free services? What's frustrating to me is, as you know, at our press conference, I said, you know, we're done with press conferences. We got a lot of work to do, and so when something significant comes up, we'll be there. So I've been a little silent, and I get it. People are asking more and wanting to know, and I want them to know. But there's a process here that we have to safeguard in this investigation, and you're not going to know everything. But so I kind of ignore the white noise, right? But when you say things that are going to be divisive to our agencies, and I say agencies, I need to step in, because that's not only critical to this case, It's critical to what we do for our community. The relationship between the Sheriff's Department and the FBI is valued, not just by the FBI, not just by the Sheriff's Department, but by this community. We do great work together. We've worked together for decades. We have, I can go back probably 20, 30 years when I was in homicide. We have people assigned to that office, have had for decades, and they have people assigned here. And we have always worked close. Look at Gabby Giffords was a perfect example. Yeah. So for somebody to come out and say the sheriff is stuck, first of all, they just don't know. That's one. Two, it's just crazy. If I may, I'll give you the background on that statement. So it was about some DNA on a glove that Quantico wanted or the FBI wanted, and we said, no, it's coming here. That is so far from the truth of what happened. This case started on Sunday afternoon for us. Yep. By Sunday night, into the early hours Monday, my team had collected all the biological and all the physical evidence at that scene to suggest that, oh, they left stuff there, they did a bad job. That's just ludicrous. And that's an insult to my team. We've processed crime scenes for decades. We understand the rules of evidence and how to protect a crime scene. We left the crime scene because we had everything we saw as evidentiary value. We had county attorneys come out and do those things. The FBI joined us when? Not days later that's been reported. That day. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock that morning, I was in this office, and my detectives said, tell me what we got. We have all this biological evidence, and we have all this physical evidence. Okay, where we were, the physical hard cameras, the cell phones, computers, the FBI does a great job. How do they know that? Because they work with them. They have the resource. Give it to them. We called the FBI, absolutely sure. They took it. We took the biological evidence because we have a lab. We've worked with this lab for decades. And it's a lab that, oh, they're in Florida. I don't know where they were 30, 40 years ago when we hired them, when we contracted with them, because like every lab, they put in a bid for a contract. It's renewed after 2 or 3, 4, whatever the time frame is, and they get that bid. They've been a great lab. The FBI, if the FBI said, Sheriff, we don't like your lab because of this, we would have had a different conversation. Sure. But it wasn't about that. The FBI is a great lab too. We've used them before. It was simply, we had already sent that evidence in for the markers for the family. We knew, you know, if you have a burglary in your home, God forbid, but we're going to get markers from you and your family. So we have eliminations. And so now we go to a crime scene, or what we believe is a potential scene, on a search warrant up on the, in Rio Rico. Same thing. We gather all that evidence, it goes to our lab. Now we fast forward to what? Yesterday, day before, a glove is found. There's another thing. There's been no glove ever found at that house or in that property. That glove was found 2 miles away. Somebody called it in as a tip. We would be crazy not to say, oh yeah, go ahead, we don't need it. No, we're going to go out and get it. In fact, since then, we've been widening our search patterns, which is pretty typical in these cases. And in that search, we've gone out almost, 5-10 miles, and we found lots of gloves. But we have prioritized that. I don't want people to sit there and say, oh, there's a glove, they got too many. No, call us. Right. Let us do. Yeah. So that glove was found. The FBI said, well, we can send it to Quantico. I said, well, we could, but here's the thing. All of our DNA evidence is already at our lab. They'd come back with reports. Those reports have been shared with you. In fact, your reports from your lab on the video, it was shared with us. All of that went out. Why would you add a second lab to this? Because now that lab, if they get a marker, say they get a profile, what are they going to do? Call our lab to send stuff over? You've added a step there that's not needed. Right. As long as I took to explain this to you, the FBI and I had this conversation in about 10 seconds. They went, got it, perfect, Sheriff.
All right, well, while all of this is going on, neighbors are certainly on edge in Nancy Guthrie's community. Ashley Holden spoke with some of them just a short time ago about her disappearance.
I'm not used to like this type of crime. I mean, we have crime, obviously, like normal crime in every city, but something like this is really kind of like shocking.
So we want to get back to our Ashley Holden. She's been live at the scene for much of the night. What can you tell us, Ashley?
Yeah, well, we have still been kind of watching these vehicles. We know a white van, another one just came out from behind these cones. And I want to show you what we are looking at here, which is still this roadblock that has been in place here for hours. Again, minutes from Nancy Guthrie's home in the Catalina foothills. And we have been watching as this Pima County Sheriff's deputy really sits here, directs traffic in, and then also tries to make sure that all of the media and all the people, some people just obviously coming to see what is going on, stay out of the roadway, because we have had so many law enforcement vehicles coming in. We have seen a few leave, like we have mentioned, that SWAT vehicle that we saw leave, a few of them. We saw a forensics unit drive in along with all of those unmarked law enforcement vehicles. But you were just saying, we spoke with those neighbors and how many questions they have, and I was able to talk with them again. You know, they're hearing all of these different things and trying to get as much coverage as they can, trying to get as much answers as they can, but they are still waiting for those answers too, and waiting to see really and hear firsthand what is taking place here and how this is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. We do have a car here coming out. It looks like a squad car, and as they pull out, as they come right here to, I'm assuming, talk to this deputy here to see if they can let them out. I do want to mention, obviously, Nick is down at that other scene not too far away, and he was saying someone is detained there, a man is detained there, and there's obviously a lot of different agencies at his scene, but we are still waiting to see, are these two scenes connected? We know this one is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, but FBI is down at his scene. Here we have this unmarked squad car. Inside, though, it says sheriff on their computer, so probably another sheriff, Pima County Sheriff's deputy here, and that is how far down the road they're driving. Nate, can you kind of zoom in here? Off into the distance, those lights, you can see them. That is where these cars are driving, down the road and around the bend. And hopefully at some point we can kind of catch a car coming around that bend so you guys can see truly how far down the road they are traveling. And I was just asking, hey, what time is it? Because we've been streaming and bringing you coverage, and it's 11:30. We got here probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And so we are going on 3 hours that we have been here. Okay, see, take a look at this car. That's the bend. That should give you a better visualization of how far down those cars are driving. But in terms of what I was saying, we've been here for going on 3 hours. And right as we got here, we saw that public information officer, and she said that they were working on a statement and it would be coming soon. I asked her, you know, all of the questions that probably so many people are wondering, what's going on? And can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? And she said this statement was working up the FBI chain of commands. And so we know the FBI is also tied to this scene as well, just from that statement. And looking at my phone here because I had a call incoming, sorry guys. And now we have this truck that is coming out. No, this truck coming out, unmarked. A couple of other cars here pulling out. And these are cars that are similar to the ones we saw driving in, and they say on the side though, for official use only. So that is not just someone who is most likely probably here living in this neighborhood. Those are probably people that are coming from the scene. We have another car who is coming out. This is probably the most vehicles we have seen pulling out from this area right now within the last few minutes. So we don't know, again, kind of what work was being done here. And as you guys were talking, Faye and Javier, I was thinking about, you know, Nick was saying about that man who was detained, and we've been talking about how someone else was detained earlier this week, questioned and released. And now we do have a man close by who is detained. We don't know if that scene is related to this one, but so much playing out this week in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. I think the last car that pulled out was someone who potentially just lived in the area. So that's kind of what we're seeing here on scene. Obviously, a lot of developments that we're seeing actively here, but in terms of information, we're still waiting for that statement. And that's kind of what my thought process was. 3 hours we've been here We were told that statement was coming soon, and we still don't have it yet hours later. So what is taking place here? What kind of work are they doing? We're waiting to find out.
And it talks about the intensity of the investigation, where we've seen for the last week or so, it's really intensified when you talk about the amount of manpower we've seen scouring the fields and walking side by side and just trying to turn any detail into possible evidence. And then we heard about the gloves, and so much has transpired just this week alone. So you talk about, what goes into an investigation, and we're seeing it play out firsthand.
Yeah, and I was just going through our ABC15 Facebook page, and one of the questions somebody had asked was, why can't we get a drone up and go down and get closer to the scene right now? But there are very specific rules when we're allowed to fly and what we're allowed to fly over and that sort of thing. So hopefully that answers that question for you.
Yeah, and you look at the area where she was at, and she said at that bend, that was when we saw vehicles, but we don't know how far down they're driving up from. So we want to get out to our Nick Saletti. He's at a second scene near Culver, still trying to figure out exactly if that's connected to this one, but guessing by the amount of FBI agents that we're seeing and the investigation going on, we're assuming it might be connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right out to Nick. And Nick, I know you've been reporting one man's been detained. Any update on that?
Yeah, Faye, we're still reaching out to Marana police to try to see why he's detained, because I want to point out he is in the back of a Marana police vehicle right now being detained. We don't know for what, and we're trying to figure all of that out. But we also, as Javier mentioned, seen a lot of FBI agents here. I want to step out of the way so you can get a better look at the scene right now. We have Pima County deputies here as well. Now, as we mentioned, we're still working to figure out if there is any relation to where Ashley is at, because we know that scene pertains to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. This one, we don't know. We don't know what they're investigating, but we do know, obviously, the FBI is involved. There's this silver Range Rover that's parked in between the two Pima County deputies here. And for the last 10, 15 minutes or so, we have seen one of the FBI agents coming out and taking a variety of photos of the vehicle, a lot of the back, but then also of the driver's side. And then just a short time ago, he was here taking pictures of the front as well. So we believe that whatever this investigation is centers around this silver Range Rover that they have been taking all kinds of photos of, even deputies helping out because it's so dark here right now. They were holding up lamps to try to make sure the pictures were properly lit and whatnot. But we've seen them here for at least a few hours, and we have some partners here too. Our Scripps News Group Tucson is here as well, and they got some video showing even more agents here at one point. This is a Culver's, so this is of course a fast food place right now. I just checked, they closed at 10 o'clock, but while this was happening, they were still open, I believe. This was still during business hours, whatever it is that happened here right now. Trying to see, excuse me for a second, I know my photojournalist Chad Cromwell is showing you around. I just want to get a better vantage point of what the FBI agents are doing. So I see two FBI agents in the back of their SUV right now. It looks like they're reaching in for some kind of equipment. I don't know if it's more camera equipment, but they're in the back trying to get more of their equipment right now. As I mentioned, Pima County deputies are here, as well as Marana police, as they take pictures of this Range Rover. And what we're trying to do is figure out if there is any connection to this scene as well as the Nancy Guthrie scene, because that one is just about a mile or so from us. We can't independently verify that right now, but we are reaching out to our sources to try to see if there's any connection. Obviously, FBI agents are involved in both. So we, of course, will continue to try to answer those questions. It looks like someone's arriving here. I don't know if this is perhaps a customer or could be a member. Looks like possibly a member of law enforcement right now. I'm not sure. It looks like a sort of law enforcement style vehicle that maybe is unmarked. Deputies are speaking to this person. We'll try to figure that out for you as well. But obviously, people come to Culver's, and you don't think you're going to see the FBI in the parking lot and all other kinds of law enforcement right now. My photojournalist, Chad Cromwell, just moving around to give us a better vantage point right now. What's interesting is the agent, guys, was taking, I mean, dozens of photos of this silver Range Rover, and of the back, we saw the license plate covered as well, which would indicate to us that they're perhaps looking into this right now and maybe trying to see who this is registered to and whatnot. But taking numerous pictures of the back, but then, as I mentioned, also the driver's side, and then they were just here taking pictures of the front. I've been looking around to see if I could spot any damage, and I can't. So still trying to see what exactly they could be taking pictures of. All right, we see there's directly behind the Range Rover, guys, there is that person who looks like they're parked and may have gotten out. It's a bigger silver SUV right now. I'm trying to see if that is a member of law enforcement or whatnot, because it is marked, or it's unmarked, I should say. But we did see this person, whoever it was, speaking with Pima County deputies. And as we mentioned before, there is one man who is detained here on scene. Guys, we'll continue to ask some questions and try to see if we can piece together why he's detained and why the FBI is here. We'll stay out here and follow up.
Okay, guys, we are not far from where Nick is at, but we are a couple minutes away from Nancy Guthrie's home. I think we have someone who is getting in this car right here. We don't know if they just live in this neighborhood and they were maybe at a friend's and they're coming in. It looked like possibly a teenager getting picked up and their parents were trying to take them in, but we don't know. That is just what it appeared to be. We don't know if what is going on or who that was here entering this roadblocked area. We have another car that's leaving. This is probably, as I mentioned last time, the most cars we've seen leaving, but we know obviously a lot of work must be taking place here down this road. And I was showing you how far down kind of this bend they have to drive, but we haven't seen really any action here other than cars leaving, coming and going, some people turning around, some people coming to the scene and then leaving as well. And so we are now going on 3.5 hours that we have been waiting for a statement. And again, we were told that statement would be coming soon, and they did not have a timeline. People are asking, when is that? Is it going to be 30 minutes? Is it going to be an hour? And they just said it was coming soon and running up the FBI chain of commands. So we're waiting to see what kind of work is taking place, what led law enforcement here to this area, a part of the Nancy Guthrie investigation. But as I've been mentioning throughout the night, we've kind of seen this evolve, and we obviously have Nick's scene that he is at where someone is detained. Is that related to this scene? We still don't know, but those are the feelings also that neighbors have. So many questions. What is going on in their own backyard? And so many people, I think Nick was talking to people here that they were saying, you know, they did not know that something like this is not what they were expecting for their Friday night. And now they have this road here blocked off behind us and a ton of people here watching and waiting to see what happens and hoping to get some kind of answers about what is going on and what is going on with the case and where the next direction is that this case is going to take. We've seen so many different ones this week, like we've been mentioning, and so many people have been on social media waiting to see what happens, asking questions, very much wanting answers and to feel a little bit better. I've talked to so many neighbors about their feelings and being fearful. But I'm going to set it back inside to you. We're going to stay here and see if we get any more information.
All right, Ashley, we're finally getting that. We're getting that information from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. We want to read you what they put out in a tweet, and it says law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case.
Then they go on to say that because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. So we have been waiting for many hours now throughout the evening to hopefully get a little bit more information. But essentially what they're doing is confirming what we already know at this point, that they're is a situation that is going on there in the Catalina foothills, not too far from Nancy Guthrie's home, and that they are on the scene there. There is law enforcement activity, but at the request of the FBI, no further information is coming.
As I mentioned, they're just beginning their investigation, now getting into that location. So when you talk about this case, we want to walk you through the timeline of how we got here, because we're on day 13 now.
Yeah, Nancy Guthrie was last seen January 31st. It was around 9:45 Saturday night. She had gone over to her family's house, and then she was dropped off by her family. Sunday morning, February 1st, the family went to check on her. Whatever they saw caused them enough concern to call 911. A search then getting underway on Monday, February 2nd. The Pima County Sheriff pleading with the public for help, for the first time calling the home a crime scene. Now later, investigators say they believe Nancy was abducted. Tuesday, February 3rd, the sheriff speaking again, confirming the department is reviewing possible ransom notes, but still no suspects or persons of interest had been identified.
Wednesday, February 4th, the FBI returned to that home. Guthrie's children released a video message, and President Trump directed a bigger federal response. Now, the following day, that was Thursday, February 5th, the FBI announced they were joining the Pima County Sheriff's Department in a joint investigation. Then, a $50,000 reward was announced for the case. Monday, February 9th, the latest ransom deadline passed, and the Guthrie family then released another video.
Then on Tuesday, February 10th, big developments. The FBI releasing video and images showing who they consider to be a suspect in the case. That was this doorbell video here that we saw. 5'9" to 5'10" is how they described the person. Later that day, a man was detained for questioning near Rio Rico, north of Mexico. He was later released and is not facing charges. Thursday, February 12th, the white tent put up in front of Nancy Guthrie's home, removed a short time later. And of course, we want to mention the reward in the case has now been increased to $100,000.
We want to get back out to our Ashley Holden. Ashley, they told you that a statement was going to be released about 2.5 hours ago, and we're now seeing that statement.
Yeah, and it's really very short. I think so many people were hoping to get a little bit more information, but we are learning from the Pima County Sheriff's Department that obviously what we have known, there's law enforcement activity taking place here just a few minutes from Nancy Guthrie's home, but they are saying because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. So some of those lingering questions are really going to be here, it sounds like, overnight, and we'll have to see what plays out if we have, a chance to have this roadblock here go down and even go into the neighborhood, or if they're going to be here really into the early morning hours still working this. And is this connected to the scene that Nick is at? At this point, we don't know. And so we've had a lot of crews that have come into this scene and that we have been waiting to get information on what kind of led law enforcement here to this area, again, just minutes from Nancy Guthrie's home. And it sounds like tonight we are not going to get that. And we have been here since, again, around 8:30, so around 3.5 hours. And it sounds like that is all the information we will be getting this evening. For now, we want to send it over to our Nick Saletti, who is at that other scene. Nick, what's going on there?
Yeah, so we now see more FBI agents on scene right now, and it looks like they're placing some kind of covering over that Range Rover that they have been taking photos of all night. That is what we believe they are investigating. I'm going to step out of the way so you can get a better look. Actually, they're trying to block us, I think, from seeing what's happening, but it looks like they're taking photos of something perhaps inside of that Range Rover. We've seen them taking pictures on the outside all throughout the night, but it looks like now they're taking photos of something on the inside right now. We can't see it, though, because they're blocking it. You could see Pima County deputies are here, as well as Marana police. They're assisting in this investigation right now. And we can also confirm that one man has been detained here at this scene. We saw him sitting in the back of a Marana police vehicle right now. But even if I walk closer, it's very difficult to make out what exactly they're trying to block from our view. But they're holding up, for all intents and purposes, a sheet right now. But we can still see the flash. We can see a flashlight, and then every once in a while we still see a flash. So I believe that they are taking photos of something in the back of that silver Range Rover. As I mentioned just a short time ago, we saw one of the agents going side to side of the Range Rover taking photos. He was taking numerous ones in the back and then some on the driver's side, and then also several photos in the front. So at this time, we believe that this is what they're investigating here and trying to collect some kind of evidence. And as we've been saying throughout the night, we're still working to see if this is in fact connected to the Nancy Guthrie scene that Ashley Holden is at. It is very close by. We were there about an hour ago and then drove here, and I think it took us less than 5 minutes. So it is very, very close by, which would of course cause you to question, okay, FBI is at that scene, FBI is at this scene, but of course we're working our sources and trying to reach out to see what exactly we can confirm. We don't want to speculate too much. About 10 minutes ago, you see there is looks like a silver Chevy Tahoe that's kind of parked in the middle here, and it's right next to the deputies that have that sheet blocking things off right now. That's actually someone from the FBI. We saw him get out, and we were trying to read what was on his shirt, and it looked like it said something about a gangs unit or something like that. Again, we don't know that that's exactly what they're looking into, but that was what we saw on his shirt, at least. That's, again, that Chevy Tahoe that's in the middle there, the silver one. It looks like he parked there, and then they all took out some kind of equipment to carry out this next phase of the investigation. I want to point out, too, this is a Culver's restaurant. Obviously, this is a fast food restaurant here at a pretty busy intersection in Tucson. Even at this hour, we keep seeing a number of cars drive by. So I can only imagine the surprise coming from people who maybe stopped in to get something to eat or get a frozen custard, and then they see the FBI agents are here, because we do know they've been here for several hours. So to our understanding, all of this started still during operating hours. So it must have been, of course, scary for people here just trying to eat on a Friday night like so many other people out there. So they've been holding up this sheet now for at least a couple minutes. We can see a really bright light that they're shining in the back. Oh, look, you know what? Looks like they're closing the trunk right now. So I'm wondering if okay, it looks like they're folding up the sheet too, so that they were trying to block us from seeing whatever they were taking pictures of. You just saw they closed the trunk. It looks like they're done, at least that part of it. Now they're folding it up, and I think they're going to put it in the back of that silver Tahoe that's parked in the middle. So they were doing this for a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes at most. Interesting to see what exactly they were trying to take pictures of, though, because as I mentioned, we saw them take a lot of pictures of the back, but it was the exterior of the Range Rover. We didn't see them open the doors or open the windows or anything like that until just now when they popped the trunk there to try to take some pictures on the inside. So possibly some kind of evidence or something like that that they're trying to document before they wrap up and leave the scene. As I mentioned, we do know there is one man who is detained here. We saw him in the Marana police vehicle. I'm still reaching out to try to see what exactly he is being detained for right now, but he's been detained for at least an hour or so, probably several hours right now as we work to figure out what exactly is happening with that. But this is a multi-law enforcement operation happening. Obviously, the FBI, Pima County deputies, and Marana police are here. Earlier, our Scripps News group in Tucson was here getting video as well of the scene, and we could see even more agents at one point gathered here. So it looks like we have Pima County deputies getting in their vehicle. They have these white trucks here that are parked kind of off to the side. They've been assisting in this. Even at one point, as the FBI agent was taking photos, we could see them, because it's so dark here, they were actually holding up lights so that they can try and get better photo quality. The FBI agents are back at their SUV right now. Their trunk is open too. I don't know if they're clearing out or if they're going to be getting some more equipment as well, because we kept seeing the one agent going back and forth to get some camera equipment as he was taking more and more photos. And then you can't see it right now because the FBI vehicle's blocking them, but that is where the silver Marana police vehicle is parked right now, closest to the restaurant on that side. And as I mentioned, that unmarked vehicle we see parked right in the middle here, that is actually an FBI agent, because we saw him exit his vehicle and we could see on his shirt it clearly said FBI. And then we believe we saw something about a gang investigation, something to that effect was also written on his shirt. Okay, so we just saw the FBI agent go up to him, said something. Obviously we can't hear because we're not permitted to be that close to this investigation, but looks like he's going back to his car possibly to get something. I'm sorry, you have a question? I'm sorry?
Are you the only media out there, or are there other outlets out there?
No, there are, I would say, half a dozen others out here right now gathering information and trying to see what they can get. Okay, so we're seeing the deputies get out again, going back to that Range Rover. Looks like they're going to the other side of it. Okay, we see the FBI. There's that FBI agent getting back in the unmarked vehicle right now, that what looks to be a silver Chevy Tahoe, something to that effect.
Can I ask you?
Looks like, yeah, okay.
Nick, can I jump in with a question?
Yeah,
really
go
quick?
ahead, Faye. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Any updates on the man who is detained? Is he still sitting in the car? Is he being questioned? Have you been able to see him, see his demeanor at all? And then also, does it strike you, as it does me, a bit odd that we're talking about a Range Rover here? It's a very expensive car if we're talking about a crime scene situation. It just seems a little incongruous.
You know, okay, so as far as the person who is detained, I haven't been able to see him in, oh gosh, maybe 20 minutes or so, but we do believe that he is still detained in the back of that Marana police vehicle, in that I haven't seen anyone leave this scene except for law enforcement. So we believe he's still there because the vehicle is still there. And as far as the Range Rover that's on scene, you know, that's what this investigation appears to center on. Okay, you know what? We're actually seeing that FBI agent leave now, right? He was the one in the unmarked vehicle he's pulling out right now, who we believe was from some kind of a gang unit. So I'm not sure if they're going to be, well, looks like the FBI agent's still in the back of his vehicle right now. He was the one who was taking all the photos of everything, guys. So I'm not sure if he's going to be taking any more. And obviously, we're still working to see what exactly they were looking for in all of this. But as we work to confirm this information, I'm about a mile or so away from where Ashley Holden is and the scene that is connected to Nancy Guthrie. And we don't know that they're connected. We're still working to try to see if they are, but it strikes me as odd that we have two scenes now with very close proximity, about a mile or so, in this part of town where you already don't see a ton of activity. Both of these scenes have FBI agents. So, of course, that is definitely going to raise some questions, and we'll work to get you some answers.
Yeah. Nick, I know you've been able to kind of walk around and get as close as you possibly can to that Range Rover. Is there any damage to the car? Is there anything that strikes you as unusual about the car that would have raised any kind of red flags?
Yeah, so I actually sort of visually did a perimeter check as they were taking photos. And, you know, Faye, I actually didn't spot any kind of damage at all. And at first I thought maybe that's what they were trying to take photos of. But from my vantage point, and again, it is dark here, but from my vantage point, I didn't see any damage to the bumper, any front end damage, anything like that, which is why I think it makes it even more interesting to see what exactly they're looking into when it comes to this Range Rover, both the exterior and also the inside, right, that we just saw them taking pictures of. But no, I didn't see any damage.
It doesn't appear that they're winding down this investigation anytime soon. It looks like, they're still at it.
Yeah, you would think also that with all of the focus that has been on this car and how many photographs have been taken and how many agents and sheriff's deputies are out there, that they would impound this vehicle and maybe take it for further processing somewhere else. But have you seen a tow truck of any sort?
No, I haven't. And I think it's because they have been so busy with it, right? I mean, we've seen them for, at least 30, 40 minutes taking all those photos of it. So I think they've just been too busy collecting any kind of evidence as part of whatever this investigation is to be able to tow it away or impound it or anything like that. And right now we're still trying to see if they need it some more, if they're going to be taking more photos. Looks like we have the FBI agents moving to another vehicle right now. I don't know if they're going to be getting out some more equipment. But again, this is at a Culver's, right? So a fast food restaurant, not something that you would expect to see on a Friday night. Okay, the one FBI agent just put something, looked like a cloth of some kind, in the back of his vehicle. And this was the one who was taking all the photos. So he had the camera equipment. And as I mentioned earlier, because it's so dark, we had the deputies holding up lights so that way they could see better and the photos would be better quality and actually be able to make out probably what they were trying to take pictures of. Okay, he started to take a couple steps towards the Range Rover, but then that FBI agent is going back. So we mentioned to the deputies here from Pima County, it looks like they're providing assistance and some kind of backup here. But from the demeanor we're seeing, the FBI definitely leading this investigation. They're the ones who have been collecting the evidence and taking the photos and whatnot. But this is a multi-law enforcement investigation right now, we can call it.
And essentially what we're seeing is the actual investigation playing out. So whatever it pertains to, whatever it's connected to. And, this could go on for hours, and they're going to be very thorough in looking through that vehicle and those two vehicles to figure out and try to make any connections that they need to make. So we're watching live investigations here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. As you continue to monitor that situation, Nick, we do want to take a quick look at the statement that was sent in from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. They say law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Ave related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, that's an important point right there. No additional information is currently available. So a bit underwhelming after all of the hours that we've been waiting for this statement and hoping to get a little more information than what we've had. It's essentially confirming the information that we've had for most of the night.
That we already had that took us to that location in the first place. So
and that's Ashley Holden's location.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, the investigation is playing out in real time. So it's been day 13 going on day 14 now of an investigation to find the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, we want to go back out to our Ashley Holden now. She is live at that scene that was just, again, confirmed by the Pima County Sheriff's Office. Ashley, do you still have a lot of activity where you are as well?
Well, we've actually seen 2 forensics unit leave the scene since I last spoke with you. And I was just looking at my phone to see if it was after midnight, because now we are going into day 14, 2 weeks of the search for Nancy Guthrie. We have seen a lot of cars leaving, not really any more that are showing up to the scene. But of course, we can't see what is going on. So we don't know what kind of work is being done, of course, down the road, obviously involving all of these different law enforcement agencies, lots of different law enforcement forensics units. We've seen SWAT cars leave. So a lot of vans, a lot of different people have been here apparently to this residence that is not far from where we're standing, but still far enough away that we can't see what is going on. So it is down the road and around this bend. And I think you guys, if you've been, with us for a while, you have been seeing those cars kind of drive down around the corner and out of sight from here. And so many people were waiting to see if we get any answers on what led the investigation here to this area, just minutes away from Nancy Guthrie's house. And it sounds like tonight we won't be getting those answers, and we don't know when we will be getting those answers, but it sounds like it is, again, a request from the FBI, and they won't be releasing much more information tonight. Of course, we will be continuing to ask questions, though, ask the FBI about these multiple scenes we have been at tonight, and if they both tie to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. We know this one does, but as Nick was saying, we don't know too much about his scene other than what we're watching live play out in front of you guys. And we know that they are doing a detailed investigation there, as we were hearing. So we'll have to see what comes out of tonight, early tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll get some more answers.
All right, Ashley, I know it's been a very long night and you've been doing tremendous work out there. Thank you very, very much. It was quite an adventure finding this scene this evening.
Yes, it was. You're going to want to stay with ABC 15 as we continue tracking every new development in the Nancy Guthrie case. We'll bring you updates on air, on our app, and anytime at abc15.com. We'll see you back here for ABC 15 Morning starting at 5 o'clock.